You have just been invaded by...
Hey there guys, this is DJ Slope from Slope's Game Room, and you're listening to Slope's Cast, the retro gaming news show recorded live on Twitch with my co-host Grizzly Crichton. If you like the podcast and you want to be in a chance to be on a future episode, then please do consider becoming a Patreon or YouTube member. And if you have any particular news stories that you would like us to cover in a future episode, then please do let us know in the dedicated rooms over on Discord. Plus, if you are listening to the podcast on any of the many podcast services around the world, then please do give us a little review. It really does help us spread our wings and get into the earlobes of plenty of other podcast goers. Anyway, enough of the plugs. Let's get on with the show. It's Slopes Cast time. Grizzly, do you want to give us a little rundown on our topics tonight?
And do. So, this week we have Sonic music and many more appearing at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. The last games for the Vita being released, last 6 in total. We found some new footage for Earthbound64 from 1997, so long lost. A cancelled Ocarina of Time sequel details have been released. Dead Space returns, and plenty more to talk about from EA Play. And Pico Interactive released some forgotten gems on the Jaguar N64 and more. And also, there happens to be a secret topic. So,
did you say secret topic?
I did.
Ooh.
I did.
It's
Very
almost
secretive.
like we had our template only allows for up to 6 topics, but we've got 7. Something like
Who'd
that.
have thunk it? We went from 4 topics to 5 topics, then 6, then 7. Oh god, we've been spoilt.
Absolutely, they're being spoiled. They don't know what they're. They don't know how lucky they've got it. They really don't. They really don't. Just like me, when I heard, Sonic the Hedgehog music in the Olympics opening ceremony. There was other music too, if you care. But my God, let me just play the music. I can't play the music that was actually played at the thing, but I can play the original music, the original Sonic the Hedgehog music, which was Starlight Zone. Now, they could have gone with... so good. They could have gone with a more obvious original spring, one of the first level Sonics from 1, 2 or 3 or whatever it may be. Well, definitely, you wouldn't be hearing Sonic 3 music at the Olympics. You imagine the curveball that would be to talk about. But this is a great one to go with. And how good is this? I mean, I haven't really got much else to say. Do you want to give a rundown on all of the other ones that are in there that they played?
So it's quite significant to hear a Sonic track when you think of what else was played. So there was a total of 14 video game songs played throughout the Olympics opening ceremony, including the likes of music from Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, Monster Hunter, Ace Combat. That's a weird one. Yeah. Weird choice. Winning 11 for football. I suppose that makes sense.
I mean, they're really into the winning 11, aren't they, in Japan?
They are, yeah. Kingdom Hearts, Nier, Soul Calibur, and the Tales of series were the biggest ones. But I just love the fact that more noticed. I mean, with things like Video Games Live, but you gotta understand that the Olympics is seen by millions of people. Yeah. And they've all now heard like Sonic Starlight Zone, probably awakening some nostalgia, or in some cases, some people might have heard it for the first time. Yeah, that's great.
So many people out there, guaranteed, the vast majority of people out there would not realise that this is video game music. It's just beautiful background music. And for those out there that do eventually find out that this is video game music, and video game music, not in every instance, but especially in this Sonic the Hedgehog instance, it goes to prove that there is a lot more to video game music, even back then, back in the 16-bit era days, than just bleeps and bloops put together to make a melody. This is fantastic, everlasting music that deserves to be up there with some of the greats. And it's been a good Olympics. I haven't followed it heavily, as in it's been good in regards to the medals that the UK have won. I think we've done quite well ourselves. I know America are in the top 3, I believe. Japan are pulling it in as well. They're doing quite well. And I believe China maybe in first place. It's between China and America who are actually winning at this point in time. Being that they have the biggest landmass, I would expect no different. But I'm very proud of Britain, especially. I think it was... I'm going to butcher. I might be getting it wrong. I think it was Tom Daly that's finally got his gold in diving. But regardless, I'm going a bit off topic for a retro gaming podcast. Still, it's very nice to hear video game music at an opening ceremony. It's a shame that the stadiums are not able to be filled up due to obvious reasons. But yes, it's being heard by people all around the world, and that is obviously, I say it on all the podcasts every time I'm getting to the end of a segment, it's nothing but a good thing.
Definitely. And just while we continue with this topic, I just wanted to ask a question to everyone in the chat, anyone watching on YouTube when this goes up or listening away on the podcast and just wants to give their 2 cents on Twitter or Facebook. What would be your choice for the opening ceremony of Olympic Games, considering we're talking about the heritage that is Japanese video game culture? I think there's a lot of choices out there that people would pick from. I think Sonic the Hedgehog would have definitely featured in my list, that's for sure. Starlight Zone is a great choice. I don't know if I could have beaten that, to be fair.
It's up there. It's up there. It's... Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean...
What I do find weird...
It's a nice melody, isn't it? And it works with what they're trying to do. I mean, there's more iconic music out there, like, Chemical Plant and whatever else, but it would give off a different tone. And this is just... It works. It works.
What I found really weird is because when they announced that Tokyo had the 2020 Olympic Games back in Rio, the Japanese president came out dressed as Mario. However, they didn't have any Mario music in the opening ceremony. I don't think they even referenced him. So I find it really bizarre that, through that fanfare, through that iconic announcement, that there was no reference to Mario at all. Maybe it's because of Sega's influence on the Olympic game itself, which is currently on PlayStation now. I'm just really surprised that there's been no real Mario call out. You know what? Considering it's probably their biggest export.
Yeah, it's an odd one. But Nintendo are absurdly protective of their IP, as they should be, but at the same time, perhaps a little bit too much. At the same time, that may be the reason why it gets so much of its value. Maybe that's got something to do with it. I just always remember back when Wreck-It Ralph came out, and it's got the most popular video game characters of all time in that in that movie, but Mario's not in it, and it's like, what's going on? I mean, and obviously, still they had Bowser in there, but it's so strange. There's a lot of things that Nintendo miss out on, and it baffles my mind as to why, because there's no reason. Arguably the most popular video game characters of all time, and not just Mario. We're talking if they chucked in a little bit of Pokemon music in the same vein that they've done with this spring, that would have worked perfectly.
The traditional Pokemon like stadium music, the I thought that would have been quite cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm a hardcore Sonic fan, so I'm always going to choose this, but almost that should have been in there over it, maybe, because it would have been perfect.
Yeah, I mean, like the Hyrule Field I'm seeing as a suggestion here from Ocarina of Time. Yeah, that would have been a good shout, I think. And then I'm also seeing some people suggest Castlevania. I mean, there's some great tunes in Castlevania series. Of course, I don't know if they were trying to go for thematically appropriate or not, but maybe, you know, the fear of vampires would make the runners go a bit quicker.
I know one way to lose a fan base is to big up mobile games, but one mobile game that I play most nights that I'm absolutely addicted to is this one right here. I've got to bring the camera over here. So it's called Puzzle. I'm reading it backwards. Pixel Puzzle Collection, and it's essentially just Picross. That's all it is. But it's Picross created by I'm getting it right, Konami, and you basically get to draw like Bomberman characters in Picross form and God knows whatever else, and you get to listen to Castlevania music all the way through it and Contra music all the way through, and because I've done those complete histories, I'm like that music is so ingrained in my head because I used it so much in the video, obviously, and I would love to have heard a bit of it, classic Konami, bit of Street Fighter music in there.
Do you know what was a big missed opportunity?
Go on.
Track and field.
Absolutely.
Surely there's something they could have done with track and field.
Definitely. But as much as I love Sonic, I feel like you hit the nail on the head there with a bit of Pokemon Stadium or potentially a snippet of Smash Brothers. You know, it'd be mental. There's a lot of great suggestions. I'm seeing Double Dragon, the one that won my stupid poll. The results showed that people wanted Sonic 2. Crazily enough, no one voted for Sonic Labyrinth. A bit strange. But yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great ones there. Legend of Zelda. Mass Effect 1. Is that Japanese? Is that a Japanese game? I don't believe it is.
Nah, Western RPG. But you know, let's open it up slightly. Just video game music in general.
But as I always say, nothing but a good thing. So I'm gonna probably stop it because we've now listened to Starlight Zone on loop for close to 10 minutes. So let's just fade that out.
I'll get enough. Yeah, it's literally at 9 minutes, so 08. There you go.
Let's see if I'll try and play you a small snippet in the middle so you can at least hear it a bit. We can't play too much, copyright reasons. Let's give it a go. Let's turn the volume up a little bit. Let's see if you can listen. We'll keep it quiet just for 20 definitely. Yes. We're going to be chatting about the PS Vita.
All good things come to an end, unfortunately.
They do indeed. And the PS Vita is an awesome little handheld. Arguably the best handheld, in my opinion. Right up there. Maybe if you called a Switch handheld, it definitely wouldn't be. But it's right up there with the Game Boy Advances and all that sort of stuff. It's one of the greatest. Definitely the most underappreciated, probably, of all time.
It's the OG Switch OLED, you could say.
Yes, absolutely. So the PS Vita has received its last new game releases today. Sony has closed submissions for the handheld, and there's going to be 6 games of the final for the final games for the PS Vita. I'm just going to quickly show you some footage right now for a game called Russian Subway Dogs, which is a little $2.99 game, which actually looks quite fun. It looks like one of those like little addictive indie type games where you're the dogs in the Russian subway collecting food, getting given missions from some weird cat. It's a silly little 2D half platformy collectathon-y type game, and it looks fun. It's a great way. I think it's not a bad way to end. Not every game of the 6 looks all that good, if I'm going to be honest. I don't want to knock down indie developers that put their heart and soul into it, but I don't think Ultra Mission exclusive looks all that, if I'm honest. Obviously taking a lot of its inspiration from Robotron, but there's another 4 games coming out as well. But regardless, the big story here is, yes, the end of Vita's new games is here. Well, the homebrew community are going to probably make games just as good as this, if I'm honest.
it's definitely not leaving on a bang. It's leaving on a bit of a whimper, but it's good that I feel like it was good to bring attention to this, because indie developers have been living off the Vita, and now they've lost an avenue for sales, and unfortunately it doesn't just stretch to the likes of games being released. As of July 20th, no further digital content will be released on the Vita, and that includes updates or anything like that. So it truly is the end. of course, you'll still probably get limited run releases. In fact, we saw a bit of a teaser for potentially Super Meat Boy coming up, but we don't know for sure
if that happens.
But yeah, it's just a shame to see, because the Vita is a great handheld, and the biggest problem it had was with support. And I think if anything proves that more so than anything, it was Sony's recent attitude to, removing the store entirely, until, of course, that decision was reversed when people kicked up a fuss. So the store is still going to be available, but these are the very last games that you'll see available for the thing. And I just saw that the This Is Fine dog in the trailer. Huh. Okay.
it's it's eventually going to happen, it was only a matter of time, and due to them recently announcing this and then everyone kicking off, they pushed it back slightly, but I honestly not exactly surprised. I mean, it's a love system, but it's very much a love system retrospectively to a very niche group of people. It is a great system. It just didn't get the love it needed during its life, and because of that, like I say, it's very much now loved by a niche group of people. Too late, unfortunately, and it's definitely going to be one of Sony's harder consoles to be able to collect for, and one that most people will want to collect for, because it's, like I say, it's a great little system. All good things must come to an end, and it's the end. It's the end.
And unfortunately, it's not going to end there.
Oh, okay.
Well, it is for the Vita, but we are also seeing the very same thing going to be happening next month to the Wii U. So all submissions will be finalised, and there will be no more Wii U games for all the 5 people that still care.
For all those Kickstarters that are overdue that promised that their game would also come out on the Wii U. Will it though? Will it though?
It's not looking likely.
No.
Yeah.
No. Has anyone in the homebrew community, maybe someone in the chat could find out, actually, because I know that there was the Wii U had the potential to be able to connect together 2 Wii U controllers, and obviously they never took advantage of that, and it's understandable why. That's where the majority of the money went when you bought one. So no one's going to be buying another one of them. But I'd just be interested if anyone ever did that in the homebrew community. I'd be interested. You technically have a free screen system then, wouldn't you? Anyway, moving on. Let's keep it with Nintendo, as we were chatting about the Wii U there. Let's chat about
is it the secret topic? Is it secret topic time?
No, not yet. We're talking about the secret topic at the end. At the end.
Oh, right. Okay. I'll check back in a moment.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Earthbound64.
Yes. Earthbound.
I don't care about Earthbound, but hey, a lot of people do. It's always a bit of a thing, like Mother 3 or something.
Yeah. So, I know very little about Earthbound, so I apologise to any hardcore fans out there who are about to wince at what I'm about to say. But one of the things I do like, I love watching playthroughs of Earthbound on Super Nintendo, because the game itself is super imaginative.
It is.
Some of the greatest music on the Super Nintendo, and that is, as much as I love like my Mega Drive and what have you, SNES really had that down pat. But the Earthbound sounded great, it looked great, it had a great story, super weird. But yeah, it's one of those series that never really got much love outside of the Eastern audience, and even then, for us people in the UK, we didn't get a native copy of Earthbound on the Super Nintendo. It was all American and what have you, so we didn't really know about it until the likes of YouTube came along and said, have you played this game?
Because it blew it up in popularity.
So that's one of the positive things, I think. But yeah, Earthbound64 was a bit of an enigma. I remember it being announced back in 1997, which is where this footage comes from. It's only about 25 seconds long. You don't see much. You see a bit of background storytelling, some a bit of world building, a bit of the combat gameplay. Not much to see at all. But what I do like is the story behind Earthbound 64. So it was cancelled shortly after this show, simply because the developers were having such difficulty getting the 3D graphics to really work, and the people were pulled off the likes of Pokemon Stadium so that they can try and make this game. And Nintendo at the time had a quite strict approval policy. Normally you would have to build like an early pitch, even if you were an internal studio, and deliver it to Nintendo to say, this is what we think for a game, for us to make a game, and that you would have to go through like an early pitch. Earthbound skipped all of that, so it was considered a dead cert that it was going to do somewhat well. It's just a shame that they never really got to that point. Just reading a couple of quotes from the Wikipedia about Shigesato Itoi, the gentleman behind the series. He was just having difficulty getting it to work, really. About 30% of the game was playable, about 60% of the game was programmed, and a full script was designed before the game was cancelled. So what that tells me, and even alluded into the Wikipedia article, is that the footage that you see on the screen right now actually exists on a playable code somewhere. So what I like about this is that you might still see more in the future.
I think it's likely.
Come out.
I think it's likely. If I'm honest, the amount of times people, like, the Giga leaks that happen, and it's going to happen eventually. I'd like to hope. I mean, again, I'm not bothered. It's not for me, but I am bothered in the sense of video game documentation, all this sort of stuff being held, so we actually know what it was about and all that sort of stuff. So, but what I will do is actually I'm going to invite in one of my patrons, Mike Towns, who is, I believe, a bit of a fan of this series, and I know he's got a little something to say. Mr. Mike Towns, you want to take the mic there, mate?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I'm going to turn you up ever so slightly. I know you are the loudest you can be. Are you able to turn yourself up a little bit more?
Just give me a sec.
Okay.
Everything will be fixed in editing, I promise.
Mike?
I am up the most I can be, I think.
Yeah, go on then, mate. You go ahead. It's really hard to hear what you're saying, but give it a go.
I've moved a bit closer, but
You just sound very muffly, mate.
Animation for... Oh, sorry. Yeah.
That's right, go ahead.
But the animation in Mother 3 for like the GBA was some of the most like perfect like 2D animation you'll get. Like the main character cries at one point and he slams on the ground, and it is, you can't get that kind of like stuff out normally. Like, it's a major inspiration.
A major inspiration for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. Sorry, it was so hard to... I pieced together what you said there pretty much, but yeah, the animation in was it the original Earthbound was just very inspirational and basically very good.
Both of them, like including like the GBA version of this one.
Oh, okay. Oh, awesome. Yeah. Not bad. I mean, I haven't really got anything to add to this. I've got no interest in this series, but it's good. This one's mostly for like the budding Nintendo historians out there, and I know that there's plenty of them who are itching to see more about this game because it is an enigma. The N64, the 64DD release at one point. Yeah. I know I would have liked to have seen it. I don't know if it's something I would have played back in the day, but it's the kind of game I would have gone back to and gone, or it would have been one of those really stupidly expensive releases because Earthbound games tend to be. But yeah, it's neat, and I love to see games that didn't really get much of didn't get a release, just finally getting their footage shown, and the hard work that went into it actually being like shown publicly somewhere. Yeah, so. for sure. And yeah, nothing but a good thing, but hopefully it gets better, and hopefully they actually we actually get to see it one day, because like I say, I'm not the biggest fan, and Chef Matic puts you right there. You've got to be an RPG and Nintendo fan to care about this. Yeah, I am a Nintendo fan, but definitely not an RPG fan. Regardless, there's a lot of people out there that would love to get their hands on this, and I would love to see people get their hands on this so I could watch them play it. So cool.
Yeah.
Keeping it Nintendo.
Cheers, Mike.
Yeah, cheers, Mike. Keeping it Nintendo 64, let's chat about the Ocarina of Time, which many believe is a pretty good game. I mean, it's all right. I've heard all right things about it.
I'm a big fan, gotta say.
Yeah.
I'm one of those easy marks. Ocarina of Time, I feel, even though it's still considered the highest rated game of all time on Metacritic, I'm actually inclined to believe to sit alongside that hype and go, yeah, you know what, it's pretty well deserving. It's a great title, and Dan, how dare you need to try it.
I've tried it.
More.
It will be a stream one day. A multiple part stream, because I know it's one that's worthy of a multiple part stream. I've tried, and I got fairly far into the 3DS. I think what doesn't help it for me, before we get into the news of this particular topic, for me personally, it's got so much hype around it. It has so much hype around it. Like you say, the greatest game of all time. But sometimes games are worth that. I heard that about a game called Half-Life 2, and let me give that a go. Whoa, that's a good game. And okay, that's deserving. And then I played Zelda. And I've played other action RPGs before, and I've very much enjoyed them. But I remember just like, God damn it, this is long. My God, this is long. And then people just like kept going on, and I was actually on a work trip holiday back when I had a 9 to 5 outside of the world of YouTube, and I went to where did I go? I went to Turkey or somewhere. I can't remember where it was, somewhere like that. And we was in like this mental shag pad house sort of place, really beautiful place. And I had just got a 3DS, and I was like, this is finally it. I'm going to be playing Legends of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and I bought that 3DS remake version, so I thought that'd be a good way to enjoy it and to soak myself in. And I was playing it, and the guy just kept coming over, and he just kept saying, "Oh, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love it so much." Yeah. And then I remember he goes, "Whereabouts are you?" And I went, "Mate, I think I've nearly completed it, and I bloody hope I have." Like, because it was so mediocre to me, and I was like, "I think I've nearly completed it." So Link's just grown up into like some teenager or an adult or something. He says, "Oh, mate, you're only about halfway through the game," and I was like, "You know what? I'm done. I can't play this anymore." And I had to put it down, and I've tried a couple of other times, but I've not got that far, and I'm just like, I just don't care about it. There are other Zelda games that I've enjoyed more in the 3D space. Twilight Princess. I preferred what was the Majora's Mask? I preferred Majora's Mask.
If any game trumps Ocarina of Time, it'd be Majora's Mask to me, because I absolutely love that game.
Yeah, I got the special 3DS, so I've got a little pin. I'm showing up. I've got a little pin for that one, and I really enjoyed that. I'll tell you what, though, no one says this. My favourite Zelda, again, I've only played a few, but my favourite Zelda is the Phantom Hourglass. I really enjoyed that one. The DS one.
Controversial.
I know. But again, like, what am I comparing it to? I've never played the SNES original, so, like there's... And the original NES I've played a little bit. I think I definitely passed my time now, but the one I've enjoyed the most and completed it to completion without having to force myself to continue on is Phantom Hourglass. I bloody love that one. Anyway, Vikeko, did anyone ever play Skyward Sword on the Switch? I had friends that did, and even they were like, bloody hell, this one goes on a bit. That's the Marmite game of the 3D games, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know Zelda.
It's definitely the black sheep. It doesn't help that they tried to shoehorn motion controls into a series which didn't really need them in the first place. But it's one of those ones. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, then the Switch version isn't going to change that opinion. Yeah,
honestly, I'm one of these people that didn't even realise until after the N64 period that Zelda isn't the main guy, because I just never played the games before that. Like, why would I know? Why would I know that? So it was actually when I went to a conference, and there was like that funny T-shirt of Link holding a sign that says "I'm not Zelda." I was like, is he not? Like, I didn't know anything. I'd never owned a Nintendo system before then, and I'd never played one of those games. So, like, I think
I think what it is with Ocarina of Time, I know we're off topic, but we will get there, I promise.
We will.
I think
I'm going to
what
eat this
got me
marshmallow
about...
while you talk about Ocarina of Time.
You go for it. Yeah, this is my time to shine. When it comes to Ocarina of Time, I wasn't really much of an RPG gamer. I mean, we said earlier about Earthbound. Okay.
Carry on.
For those not watching the video on the screen, Dan is eating a rather large marshmallow and is trying to distract me by giving me the evil eye. But yeah, I wasn't much of an RPG gamer. You didn't get access to many of those here in the UK, and you basically had JRPGs, which were mostly turn-based. So The Legend of Zelda was, something I didn't really play on, or you didn't really have access to. And then Ocarina of Time came along, and then I just thought I'd give it a go. I found it secondhand around the time it was released for like 15 quid. It was like a match made in heaven. I played it. Felt it was going on a bit too long, just like Dan, and but I think something kind of flipped. It felt like an adventure because everyone gets to that point in Ocarina of Time for the first time when you get the 3 stones at the beginning, get to the Temple of Time, and then you realise that, hang on, I thought I was about to complete this game, and now it's going to keep going, and next thing you know, you're doing 7 more dungeons or what have you. So it's... I don't know. There's something about it. It just got me, and then I think I played it solidly for those 2 weeks. I got completely drawn into the world, the music, the characters, everything. It was just brilliant all the way through, up until that final moments. And I'm guessing, yeah, I think Dan's getting a bit bored. So let's get back to the topic about what this topic was about. So what has been discovered recently is some more concept art from a potential sequel to Ocarina of Time.
Well, actually, I've looked into this a little bit. I believe the concept art was discovered it was shared about a year ago, but it was just more proof has come within the last week.
Yes, so that's right. So Retro Studio, the guys behind who did the Metroid Prime trilogy, also worked on Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and other titles for Nintendo. They were originally drafted in to do a sequel to Zelda Ocarina of Time, but this time based on Sheik, which is, spoiler alert, Zelda in Ocarina of Time. And it was going to be more of an action-focused title. I'm guessing similar to something that you would get like Devil May Cry. I mean, all we got is rough outline details and some concept art, but it's just one of those cool things. I would love to see if there was any early builds of this at some point, but apparently it was shut down fairly early into development. So it was around 2006, it's saying here, and that was around the time that we had Metroid Prime 3 come out, and a lot of the talent, or a lot of the developers and the guys at the top were leaving Retro Studios to pursue other things. So when they went, of course, the development pretty much halted at that time, which is a shame. I think a lot of people would have liked to have seen this.
Yeah, I reckon so. I was just about to reply to Sir Clown Dad, who said at least we got Link's crossbow training in the end, and I love that game. I was all about that. I really like that, and I like the Zelda little section. Not that I can remember it off the top of my head right now, but I like the Zelda section that was in Nintendo Land on the Wii U as well. That was fun. And I've got Hyrule Warriors, which I'm yet to play. Actually, I bought that for the Switch forever ago.
That's good.
Yeah, I like the Warrior games. What were they called? The other games like those.
The Dynasty Warriors type games, yeah.
Yes.
Muso, I believe the term is. But when it comes to like Zelda spin-offs, it's one of the better ones.
That's the one that came with the little peripheral. To put, you put your Wii gun on top and the nunchuck, you slot it on the back, and I thought, oh, this is cool for this one game, but no, I actually played through the original Metroid again on the Wii using the crossbow peripheral, and it played beautifully. And I'm like, you know what, this might be the way to play first-person shooters now. Like, I thought it was so good.
I remember playing the Wii versions of Call of Duty with that thing, and it was like, it was designed to use that, and it was really good.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I bought a Zelda game not long ago. Would you believe it? I'll let you carry on.
Oh, which I'm very curious to see which one he's actually got. Whether it's Skyward Sword or not. But
I've taken the cellophane off it because you have to take the cellophane off games. This is just me like taking over the podcast, all the news topics, just to talk about something that I want to talk about.
No, it's cool. You know, I've thrown Earthbound at you this week. I've thrown Zelda at you this week. I've purposely done it so you know Dan feels like he's sitting on a kryptonite bar or something.
right up there. So you've got Zelda Triforce Heroes. I bought this recently because it was $2.99 or something from brand new from Argos. They were like getting rid of loads of their 3DS stock, so I bought a few games.
Yeah. They had a big sale on recently.
Yeah, I got that and Hey Pikmin and a Code Name Steam and a few other ones, I think. But yeah, WarioWare Gold. No, I already had that one. That's a good one. I did a complete history on that. Anyway,
Hey Pikmin was alright.
Was there anything else to say regarding Zelda?
No. I think that's about it. But yeah, thought it was interesting. Some great concept art out there. Some great details, and definitely check it out so you could have seen what you could have won. Fingers crossed we'll see something like this in the future.
I think I'd rather take the microwave. Anyway, moving on. So EA did one of those like directy thingies. Fair play to Nintendo for being there first. Now everyone references it like a direct, like, you know, EA doing their own like direct. Fair play to them. They've done the whole iPhone thing there, didn't they? Where everyone's when you'd go on a plane, it's like put away your mobile phones and iPhones. Like it was actually like like the way Nintendo said, you know, you didn't buy a Nintendo Entertainment System, you were playing Nintendo, and everyone just referred to gaming as Nintendo in America at that time. But yeah, all the uneducated parents would, at least. But anyway, yes, EA have just done a direct thing, and they announced quite a few quality things, actually. Some, you know, a little bit mediocre, but there's always going to be that, isn't there?
I mean, you got your typical EA fare. I mean, you know what to expect when EA does E3. This is essentially their E3 showcase.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's run through in order what they showed off. Firstly, they showed off this, which is just about to show up on here. This is a little bit odd. So there's a lot of fans out there of Grid. I used to live with someone actually that was a big fan of the Grid series, Codemasters games. Well, yes. Their high profitable games series, if I'm not mistaken. So it's gone a little bit, dare I say it, Command and Conquer, not in the sense of its gameplay, but in the sense of its cheesy cutscenes with real world actors in between the gameplay. And that's what they seem to be doing here. There seems to be a bit of a dare I say it, a sitcom-y drama style storyline that goes in between these silly over-the-top characters injected into the world of grid racing. And I mean, when a driving series gets to a certain point, like, what else can we do with it? I don't think this is the worst idea. I'm kind of for it. I'm not really the biggest fan of Grid myself, but I'm kind of for it. I'm okay with this. I thought it was quite silly and fun. I quite like it.
I thought it was quite interesting because it's kind of going full circle, because the likes of EA and the British video game developers were always going up against each other back in the 90s, and now Codemasters, one of the last bastions for British game development, have now joined EA's ranks.
Yeah.
But I will say, Grid, good little series. We're going to likely see some of the Dirt series coming through EA as well. These guys do racing games, and they've done them very well for years and years and years, so I can imagine this will be quite good. Yeah,
absolutely. Unfortunately, Sir Clown Dad in the chat, I have not seen Tim Curry in this, but, you know, Tim Curry in space is something that should definitely be injected into all future EA releases. I'm not seeing it in this particular one.
All the Wilderness Girls.
I say it a lot whenever we watch these sort of things. Not for me, but yes, it's a good one that's coming out, and I'm happy for this. I tell you what it's like, because they did this with Need for Speed, didn't they? They had like the real world actors in some of the later ones, when they tried to make every game look like a spin-off of Fast and the Furious. They had like the real world actors sort of injected into those sort of CG worlds.
It's a fun little trick, to be fair, because I've been very wary of the strategy of EA recently. So the biggest problem with EA is that they do annualized releases. We all know this, FIFA, Madden, and what have you. Ever since, say, I think it's about 3 or 4 years ago, they started to add the story mode. And the reason for this is because they understood that once a game like FIFA or Madden or anything like that becomes out of date, it gets traded in. And it gets sold secondhand, and therefore it just goes into the obscurity, or it becomes bargain bin stuff. I mean, if anyone's watched Dan's stream recently, they've probably seen the stack of FIFA games that sits next to him. That's basically what every game or GameStop looks like right now. It's just a stack of like unwanted old sports titles.
Yeah.
So what they've done is that they've injected story modes into them each year, and it's a very smart strategy because now people are buying older copies of FIFA so that they can experience the previous year's story. So in FIFA, you followed a character who like goes into professional football, starting out from like playing at local schools and things like that, and as he's grown he becomes a professional player, and then they carry that story on each year. It's a very smart strategy, and I can see that's where they're going with this. Just add a bit of a story mode in there, and then people will feel that they're invested and want to buy the next one, or people who buy the second one go, I want to know more about this guy, and go back. Very smart.
The best FIFA apparently is FIFA 98 according to Verk Echo. I have absolutely no opinion on that, but I'm going to definitely take your word for it. Definitely.
FIFA 2000 for me, because it has Real Big Fish in the soundtrack.
Does it?
Very obvious time. Yeah.
You've won. Sorry, Verk Echo. This man's won. Take on me. Right. Yeah, I've sold out, you could say. Right.
It was sell out, funny enough.
Was it sell out? Of course it was. Grid Legends, yeah. Like I say, I'm for it. I'm looking forward to when it gets 7 out of 10, because I reckon this will probably get 7 out of 10. If it gets any more than that, fair play to Codemasters and EA. But yeah, it's cool. Yeah. It's cool. Moving on, here's a very interesting one which definitely caught my attention. Somehow I missed it. Oh, let's turn down the volume a little bit. It definitely caught my attention, and somehow I missed this, because this sort of thing's right on my radar, these sort of games. Imagine Little Nightmares, the Little Nightmare games, very Tim Burton 3D-esque. You got those Alice 3D versions of those types of games, and this kind of looks like one of those. I'm not 100% feeling the fighting mechanic that you see in this. It's done with you buying cards and then using those cards, kind of like an action RPG style. But it still does look like it gives you plenty of options and how to fight typical action styley. I'm genuinely very excited for this. I don't know if I did a very good job explaining what it is, but 3D action platformer, puzzle game, very Tim Burton-esque. You got some creepy looking die that chases you, in die as in a singular dice, that follows you around, and one of the single dot is its eyes. One of its eye. It's really creepy, really weird, very Coraline, and I like games like this, so I'm well excited that EA's, should I say, going back to their roots and being a bit experimental, like with something like this. I think this is quite exciting.
This kind of feels like another game in the similar vein to Unravel, if people remember that one, where they just try something a little bit different. The combat looks the combat looks super weird. I mean, it's all based on random dice throws and what have you, but you select dice based on, there's little cards with numbers in the top left hand corner. I'm guessing you get to pick one of the attacks based on whatever number the dice lands on, and therefore you get that hint of random, but also kind of like third person action combat. It looks a bit weird, and I don't think it's explained itself all too well. No,
I think if this is a teaser, it's done a good tease, and it's shown off a lot more than what a AAA teaser would do. I'm definitely interested to see what else comes out about this. I'm excited. My most excited games list is so different than the majority of other people. This has now entered the list along with games like Fist for the PlayStation 4 5. These are the games that I really, really crave, and fair play to EA for doing this. This is called Lost in Random, because I realise I don't think I've actually said the name of the game at all up until this point. And pre-order now? I think I will. EA? You've grabbed my attention. What's the Tarantino thing? You had my curiosity, and now you have my attention. And
that's it. Yeah.
Yes, there you go.
It really does strike me as weird because like every year EA seems to have one of these games, that isn't like a franchise title, where they're just trying something else. I mean, last year you had It Takes Two being announced, and then the year before that you had A Way Out, Unravel. This is just like the wild card selection, I think. And
yes, I remember It Takes Two. That was on the top of my got to play that one day list, and it's been forgotten about. I need to play that one day.
Yeah.
Got all right reviews from what I remember. I've always said, like, with people like Ubisoft and EA and stuff, if they need to make annually released crap like Just Dance, do it. If it means that's what money, brings in the money, because I want to see them play around outside of the standard obvious original, box of yet another FIFA, yet another Assassin's Creed and stuff like that. I want them to, continue making those games, but also throw a couple of curveballs like this in there. This is a curveball I very much am going to be keeping a close eye on. That's a cool one. Lost in Random, definitely worth checking out, in my opinion. Next up, you had Knockout City Season 2.
Wait, it's out?
Oh my god. I mean, who are we to say this is crap? Because it's not. It's not for us.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. Has anyone ever heard of a game, and I'm forgetting the game, hence why I'm stalling, Fortnite? You ever heard of that? And ever heard of about 17,000 other games that have tried to jump on that same bandwagon of that type of game? This is that type of game, but you play dodgeball instead of shoot guns.
Yeah.
Season 2's coming out now of that.
Yeah, I honestly, I genuinely didn't realise that this was out, because I've been seeing it on like Nintendo Direct, all of the E3 like platform showcases. Yeah, and I just thought it was due to come out, and it's just going to be one of those things that I ignored when it did. But now
I am exactly the same. I do remember when they talked about this. Blue Lou in the chat is saying that I've seen streamers play this and they seem to enjoy it, and exactly, fair play to those sort of people. This is free for EA so far in this showcase, because there are people out there that enjoy this, and it's fair play to them to continue on with it. But I am exactly the same as you. I didn't know that this came out when this was like, hang on, season 2? Are they already announcing the sequel before the original? Oh no, that means the original is out. Like, I didn't know. Yeah,
genuinely didn't know. I guess that just proves how old and out of touch we are now, Dan.
I think that's what it is. There's nothing against the game. It is because we are old and out of touch to games like this. I went over to my little nephew's house the other day, and he had an Among Us t-shirt on. Hey, I'm cool enough to know what an Among Us t-shirt looks like, but he had it as it had imposters written across it and the little dots to make it look like Friends, the Friends logo, all right. And I was like, oh look, it looks like the Friends logo. He looked quite confused, and I was like, okay, you don't realise what you're wearing. And I was like, so you're a big fan of Among Us, are you? And he's like, yeah, Among Us is like one of the best games ever, like all like this. And do you ever play it? I was like, no, I'm a bit more of an old retro gamer, and I have never seen the look of disgust on a kid's face more when I told him I don't play Among Us, I play old retro games. Different generation. But hey, for free EA, because like I say, it's not for us, but this is worthwhile to those streamers, as Blue Lou puts it, that do enjoy this. So as a big AAA company, you got to have a Fortnite competitor, and hey, if this is doing well, streamers are liking it, then fair play to them. Fair play to those people out there that likes Apex Legends as well. Apex Legends Emergence launch trailer. This is it.
This is an Apex Legend, you could say.
Yeah, it's a trailer to that.
Now,
thing.
I've actually played this game. It's just, I don't know. Everybody seems to have their like brand of like battle royale game, and people either prefer this or they swear by Fortnite or they swear by PUBG. All in all, they all play more or less the same, as in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if we went nitty gritty with them, we would see the similarities, and I'm sure somewhere out there right now, there's a podcast going, "Oh look, another Mario game. Aren't all Mario, Sonic, Rayman, and all these games? They're all just exactly the same." You just know there's someone out there saying all that, you know. Yeah, we're saying it about these. Keep making them. People are buying them. People are enjoying them. You know, you've pleased me with that Lost Shadows, whatever it was called, game. This one's not for me. Next up, another game that isn't for me, but I've got a lot of respect for. Let's turn down the volume on this one as well. Battlefield 2042, which is essentially Battlefield Let's Go effing crazy. I do enjoy watching like the little highlights every now and then. You always see them in the little clippets on the YouTube's version of TikTok, the little stories and all that sort of stuff, where you see these absurd tricks pulled off by the multiplayer people that play Battlefield, taking all seriousness out of those incredible settings and worlds that the Battlefield development team make, with people shooting bazookas out of the top of airplanes and landing back in there and everything else. This is essentially catering to those people, where they throw assets from all of their gameplay styles and characteristics from all of their classic games into one, so you can be like World War 1 or 2 characters mixed with futuristic laser people. It's just all mixed together, and it's stupid, but it looks great fun, and I'm all for it.
I will definitely be getting this, to be fair. I don't really like military shooters as a rule, but I do like the Battlefield series simply because it feels just more fun to play. It's a great squad based game, and I love what they're doing by mixing the eras together, like from World War II up to like futuristic era. I don't quite know how that's going to work for balancing, but
no, I know.
Yeah. I've always kind of liked Battlefield. I love what they do with the destructible environments. I love just in general the game feel. The only problem I have with the Battlefield series, and this has been a constant problem over the past few releases, is that it never really works up until like 3 months in. There's always some sort of issue in terms of how those games are launched, whether that be choppy servers or just in general, just poorly managed things. But it usually ends up really, really well.
I didn't realise the full title was Battlefield 2042 Battlefield Portal.
Well, this is a mode that they're showing off here.
Oh,
so Battlefield 2042 is the game, but Portal is the one where you get the different eras.
Again, I'm showing my old age, but it's silly and it's fun, and I'm completely all for it. I'm sure people out there that are Battlefield fans, some of them being in our chat, are very much fans of this. So yeah, it's cool. And one that I have never played, one game series I've never played, and I've always wanted to. And when I talk about my I need to play this pile, one that I always forget about, and but I always remember, like, I need to get to that game, is the Dead Space series. I need to play the Dead Space series. Now, people in the chat, I can even set up a poll. Do I go back and play the original Dead Space series, which started his life on 360? It didn't go further back than that, did it?
No, it's 360 onwards, so you're dead on there. So
2 generations old, which I think is a minimum for when they do a remake. Dead Space, this is essentially Dead Space remake. I don't think it's got much more of a funkier title than that, but yeah, they're remaking Dead Space, guys. There is nothing more than the teaseriest of teaser trailers. But yeah, Dead Space fans, of which there are many, should be very excited. What do you guys reckon I should do? Should I go back and play the original Dead Space, or should I hold it out for a little bit because I'm not going to be getting there anytime soon, and play the remake.
Well, I reckon you should, because this is actually a remake. It's not a remaster. It's not like a HD re-release. This is a ground-up remake. As you might have noticed at the bottom of the trailer, it doesn't mention Xbox One or PlayStation 4. This is being made for the next generation. That's going to include stuff like ray tracing, what have you. Now, this sounds all very far gone for a retro gaming podcast, but to me, one, Dead Space was a great title, a great little IP that they kind of ran into the ground when it got to the third one, which is a damn shame, because Dead Space, if I remember rightly, EA put a lot of bets on Dead Space 2 to perform. They really unrealistic expectations, and that is the unfortunate side of business when it came to EA at the time. They had stuff like the online pass, and then they tried to they tried to sell Dead Space as if it was going to be like their next big thing, like Mass Effect. But the truth is it didn't perform nearly as well as they thought. It performed well for the type of game it was, but not nearly as well as that they had hoped. And I was really I was kind of upset about it, because they did have a good thing going. It wasn't franchise material by any stretch, but I did like the atmosphere. I did like the gameplay. I thought it was very smart. Visceral Games did a fantastic job on it. And now we finally get to see it come back. It's nice to see that EA have seen the error of their ways and have decided to give it another college try. And if any type of game is going to show off things like ray tracing, which is the realistic lighting effects, it's going to be a game like this.
Because I know exactly what Dead Space looks like. I've tried to keep away from any kind of storyline elements, and I get the general gist, or at least I think I do. I don't think I'm too far wrong when I say this isn't far removed from like an Aliens game, what we want from an Aliens game, at least. It's
probably closer to Aliens than Aliens Colonial Marine was.
Right. Just like Sonic 2, But
yeah.
No. But yeah, I'm excited for what two generations into the future systems can do to this series. From what I have seen, I'm very excited, and I know we are still very far away from probably seeing anything from this. I'm a little scared it's going to take a long time before we see anything of this. But yeah, it's great. Yeah. It's great.
It's good to see them focusing on games like story-based narrative single-player games. Well, let's not forget that EA was the company that turned around and said that people do not want single-player based horror narrative experiences anymore. And here they are showing off a remake for Dead Space.
Well, yeah. It is. Is this the second thing they showed off from Frostbite? You had this and obviously the Battlefield thing. Was there anything else? Nothing else. Yeah.
Frostbite is the engine, so yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah. Keep him busy. So yeah, I'm all for it. I've put up a little poll down, letting people decide whether I should go old school and go for the originals. I might do, especially when I get my Steam Deck. Oh, that'd be a nice series to play on that. But I might also hold out for this, because that would put off my time waiting to be able to play this. But I don't know. I'm feeling horror games a little bit after. I'm still getting over the awesomeness that was the last Resident Evil Village game. I really enjoyed that. And I do want to go back and finally get into the Dead Space series and fully as well. I want to try the anus version of the series, which is Michael Towns put it. Dead Space 3 was anus, he put, which I thought was a brilliant comment. But I also want to check out there was like an anime as well, I believe. Or an animated movie, one of the two. Like I said, I've tried to keep far away enough, but understand what else there is. There's a lot to this series, and is it good that they're remaking it? Would you say, as someone that's played the games, or would you rather them continue the story?
I think, if anything, it needed the reboot. Just to get the taste of Dead Space 3 out of people's mouths. Personally,
So where do they go? Do they redo 1, 2, and what do they do? Do they redo 3 or?
Fuck off.
Maybe they could take it in a different direction. 3 was the biggest problem with 3 was the microtransactions. It was around that time when those became a thing.
Well, maybe they could. I haven't played it, so I don't know how ingrained into the story it was, but would they ever be able to make a Dead Space 3 without microtransactions and still make it good?
Oh, easily, yeah. There was no need for those things.
There we go. There you go. Well, there we go. I'm looking at the chat. Everyone woke up when Dead Space was. We started talking about Dead Space, so I think there's a lot of lovers out there for the Dead Space games. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to check this out. Finally, and yeah, it's cool. Now, let's move on to the secret topic.
Not yet.
Okay.
We have one more. You have to eat your peas before you get your dessert, young man.
I like it. Do they have in other parts of the world restaurants that are just like fully dessert restaurants? Because they've become a bit of a thing here in the UK. Of course they do. You have the Cheesecake Factory in America. But
Fuck off.
I don't know why I'm talking about this, but I went to a Creams the other day and my God, did I feel crap afterwards, but that was really nice. MEK is raiding. How you doing, MEK? Thank you so much. And I'm so glad that I check out your stream as well. Go and support Emmy. She's a very excitable and worthwhile streamer. Let's move on to the real next topic. Let's not stop talking about dessert restaurants. Let's talk about Pico Interactive. And I'm over on Funstock's website. I'm not sponsored by this or anything like that. I know that these guys are doing it here. Pico Interactive are releasing lost old games as they always do, but yeah, they're doing it on systems that you wouldn't normally expect. There's some really cool ones on here.
Love
Talk
these
us through
guys,
it, mate. Talk us through it.
So Pico Interactive, for people who aren't aware. These guys essentially go around looking for old, unreleased material, or in some cases, mostly complete games that were just, cancelled at the last moment. So, best example is a game called 40 Winks, which came out on the original PlayStation 1. And then towards the end of the N64 lifecycle, it was supposed to be ported over to the N64. But the game was almost finished, but just at the last moment, due to cash flow issues, GT Interactive, the original publisher, were unable to release the title, probably because Nintendo 64 cartridges were so damn expensive, and if you didn't have a hit, then you could wind up losing money, and they just lost faith. But Pico Interactive has gone back about 10, 15 years later, and then they've essentially bought the license, and then they've gone ahead and they've made the cartridge so that people can play 40 Winks natively on their N64. Just before we move on to the rest, 40 Winks was originally kickstarted by Pico Interactive. I believe this was one of their first retro re-releases
not far off.
So yeah, this is bit of a milestone. It's great to see the physical cartridge of 40 Winks being available outside of the crowdfunded setting.
And what I will say about these is, like you can get your, for people out there that want to get their complete sets for the Mega Drive or whatever system that you collect for, you can get to that complete set of games that were released back then, but then after that, you can buy all of these companies that create games that, come out afterwards, blah, 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 blah. But there's a lot of games out there that got a certain way into development, as Grizzly was just saying there, and then never got finished or did get finished and never released. When Pico released these games, it's almost like that's an official original game, because I would see that my collection isn't complete until I add those particular games in. So if I was an N64 collector, I would definitely be all about picking up 40 Winks, because you do not come across games like that. That's I think that's quite mind-blowing. I mean, I'm not trying to knock down any of the indie development, but if you look especially at the Dreamcast scene, there's so many games that still get released for the Dreamcast, but honestly, on the when you actually look at them, they're very, very simple puzzle or shmup
shooters,
2D platformer games. But these were proper games that were made for the system during its life. They just needed that final 5-10%, or in some cases, like you say, completely completed. And I think that's what's really, really exciting about them. And I think they actually make them almost very worthwhile to collect for the system that you go for, and it's not just the N64. I mean, I'm actually gone over to their website now, and as you can see, want to get yourself some new Jaguar games. Mental, absolutely mental. Continue on, Grizzly.
I know. I think I know one person who would be buying these.
I think I might do as well.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah.
Right, anyway, but yeah, it's really, really cool. I mean, like, I don't really know what the end game is here for Pico Interactive, because you have very niche games being released on a very niche console that very few people have access to. So, you know, head over heels, legendary title for the Jaguar, not exactly a legendary console.
Fuck off.
I don't know how they're going to make money on these, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But
they just need enough of that niche crowd to jump on this. And I think that's all it is, really. I know the guy behind it. We don't chat all that often, but yeah. It's bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers what he's managed to get hold of the licenses to. He has a license. He has the rights to have so many obscure games under his belt. It's really, really cool. It's really, really cool.
I do find it a bit odd though, because these are mostly being made available through Funstock, and that's the PAL region. The cartridges, and I don't know if it's like confirmed or not. I mean, it looks like they do European PAL or NTSC actually, so I don't know if the cartridge changes based on your region, but yeah, I'd imagine, you know what, I think that's probably the case. They probably have done like a specific cartridge. I just think, yeah, this whole idea is neat. I love seeing like games what could have been being released for the first time. I mean, who knows, maybe someday we will see Earthbound64 in a similar guise if it gets like if enough playable code is found.
And you know what, they've missed the trick. Both Pico and Funstock have missed the trick, because if I'm not mistaken, I can't zoom in, the artwork on one of their Genesis releases, I suppose is probably the better word, that is done by Larry Bundy Jr., just so you know, guys. That is Larry Bundy Jr.'s artwork on that. I know he's done artwork for them, and that I know by looking at his artwork, he did that.
That's definitely that's Larry all over, isn't it?
That is Larry's artwork, and I think he's on a couple of them. I'll have to have a look what else there is, but yeah, they missed the trick there. Silly Funstock, silly Funstock, and silly Pico. But yeah, it's exciting stuff. They own the Wisdom Tree games as well, I believe, or some of the Wisdom Tree games. What an insane company! Yeah. An insane company that I love. Like, so cool.
I mean, we talk a lot about game preservation, history, and what have you on this. Definitely Dan does on this channel. I mean, what are you guys here for if not for the history? But these guys are truly living it. I mean, warts and all. Because
not all these games are good. Let's not beat around the bush.
But they are definitely curios, and you know, a great way to pad out a collection, or just to add to it, or to complement a collection if you are a collector of old school video games. So I'm well and truly in support of this.
Yeah, and what I will say is, I know we badger on about the Evercade probably a little bit too much potentially. Oh, and look, it's right here, right next to me. There it is. If you do want to experience some of these games on the cheap, but still officially, just so happen to have them right here. This wasn't planned. You can play 33 of them for 30 quid.
Yeah.
On the Evercade, because they've done a couple of Pico collections, which is cool. I mean, I'm just looking on there. Switchblade, that was one of the games that's coming out. Oh my god, I think like almost all of these are on the Pico collection. So that game, Iron Commando, Tin Head, yeah, there's a lot on the Pico collections and Switchblade. Yeah, there's a fair few there. You can just get those. My God, there's all of them. So
Apart
many
from 40
of them.
Winks, I'd imagine, yeah.
Yeah, not 40 Winks, of course.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah,
that's
it's one
insane.
of those things, like, you know, they seem to be catering to both tastes. Like, if you want the, you know, quick and easy access to all of the games, you've got the Evercade versions. If you want like an official, truly authentic retro experience, you can buy the original cartridge and stick it in your Nintendo. It's cool.
If
I
there
like
was
it.
one that's worth getting, it's definitely that one. The original Pico Collection 1, which is like one of their earlier ones, number 9. There is like 20 games on here. And looking down the list that I'm showing on the screen, the majority of the ones that you see are on that collection. So yeah, if you want the cheaper way of getting these games, there it is. And, nothing but a good thing.
Yeah.
Nothing but a good thing.
You know
There
what,
we go.
Dan?
No, it's the end of the podcast. End of the podcast. We're done.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we've got to cut this short.
Hang on. Wasn't there a secret topic?
I think there was. I think there is.
There is. Let's chat about Nintendo again, but let's also chat about Sega. We only found this footage minutes before we went live. But hey, here it is. And, well, maybe you know more about it, but in a nutshell, Sonic the Hedgehog in Super Mario 64. And it isn't just a sprite swap. They've really gone to town with this.
Yeah, this is mad. So we've seen lots of Sonic mods in Mario 64, but I don't know what it was. When we saw this one, it kind of stuck out to us as just being that little bit more. It's not like a poly swap of Mario into Sonic. They've actually done the physics of Sonic the Hedgehog itself, as opposed to, you know, just slapping a skin on the body.
I wonder if you can actually complete the games. I'm sure there's probably parts of Mario 64 that I can't think of off the top of my head, but you need his special abilities to be able to get to them. Oh, he's coming out of the ring. It's so good.
That takes effort, yeah.
It's so good. People, I forget, people that are listening, Sonic starts Mario 64 instead of coming out of the pipe like Mario does, he comes out of a Sonic ring. It's just cool. It's really cool.
They've even changed the text, like the character models for Peach is now Eggman and what have you. So
he runs a bit faster by the looks of it as well.
Yeah, he can roll up into a ball and it acts like a marble.
Yeah,
it's
at the
just-
beginning of the
just so
game,
cool.
instead of Peach like inviting you to the castle, there's Dr. Eggman doing essentially the same thing. He does the bounce, the homing bounce that he does in Adventure, the Adventure series and onwards.
Yeah, you got the homing attack as well. Seen it on other videos. Yeah, so essentially, just to summarize all of this, they've essentially taken Mario 64 and made it better. In my opinion, because it looks
Can we
really
say that?
good. I
Heck,
think,
we wound up the Zelda Ocarina of Time community earlier on.
yeah. Well, you did specifically.
Yeah. Let's wind up the Mario 64 community too. What should we go for next? Final Fantasy 7. That's a crap game, isn't it? Bugsy.
Didn't we cover that in
Bugsy
the,
3D. That
overrated
is like the
game?
greatest game ever made. I heard.
Yeah, didn't you know the Uncharted guys worked on that one? That's actually true, by the way.
What else can we? What else? Who else can we piss off? I don't know. What other major loves are there? I don't know. Burn Mother Free. Yes, there's a Sonic mod for Mario 64, and it looks freaking awesome.
Yeah, they've
Go
done a
and check it
brilliant
out.
job with this one. It's even wisps instead of toads.
Very nice, very nice. I think we've reached the end of the podcast, guys. Thanks for listening to Slopescast, the retro gaming news show with myself, DJ Slope, and my co-host, Grizzly Crichton, recorded live on Twitch every single Tuesday night. If you want to listen in live, then make your way over to twitch.tv/Slopes Game Room at 9 PM UK time, 1 PM Pacific Standard Time, and 4 PM Eastern Standard Time. And as stated, if you want to be in a chance to be on a future episode, then please do consider supporting the show on Patreon or as a YouTube member. And finally, finally, if you do have any news stories for us, then please do feel free to drop them in the dedicated rooms over on Discord at discord.gg/Slopes Game Room. And until next time, guys, this is DJ Slope signing out, and hopefully I'll see you all next time.